Hello, it has been a scooch of time since I have talked to you last. And that has been mainly because lately I've been working on facing some things that cause me to panic. And I have found that when I am trying to stifle an episode, I'm not the most entertaining. I'm more like just catatonic, which is difficult to film and try to edit into anything that would be remotely watchable. But I have traveled with my mom, grandma, and aunt to Arkansas so my grandma can spend time with her sister. And on the list of things that make me panic is airplanes and being away from the safety of home. So like, that's all of traveling. And if you didn't know, I didn't used to be afraid of these things up until about 2 years ago when I had a pretty bad panic episode that lasted a couple of months that I believe was brought on by a medication that I was taking at the time, along with like certain life events like quitting my job, all rolled into like one big panic episode. And I have been trying to gain back some sense of normalcy ever since, which has been fun in the most sarcastic way possible. And I've mentioned this here and there in videos, you know, like not super in depth. I don't know. It's just like a self-preservation thing because, you know, there are people out there that just do not understand anxiety and panic. And I am really glad that they don't because I would not wish this on my worst enemy. It really freaking sucks. But it also doesn't feel great when those people say mean, discouraging things. So it's like you don't really want to like share too much because you're just trying to like celebrate some small wins for yourself. Anyways, I have been working up to this plane ride for quite a while now. I have went through a car wash several times like by myself, which part of the issue with the plane is being trapped in a place where you can't get out. Hello, car wash. So I've been trying to like desensitize myself to that minute by minute, which I did, and great. I've taken a train ride, traveled multiple places, couple hours from home, like little day trips with Steven. You know, things that like most people would enjoy doing, but I white knuckled all the way through. And on this trip, I made it through the first 2 plane rides without an issue, and then all of the time in Arkansas. But then when it came time to get on the plane to go home, got on the plane fine. For whatever reason, sat down in that seat and panicked and deplaned, and then was stranded in Arkansas. Rented a car and we did a little impromptu road trip, 13 hours back home, and just got back at 9 last night. So my ego is bruised and I feel pretty freaking sad about it. Like, even though I did good majority of the time, that last bit just kind of diminished any bravery that I felt that I had going on. Very humbling to say the least. Just not ideal. But what can you do? It happened and we are just going to pick ourselves back up and dust ourselves off and keep trying because what else is there, honestly? I think today my primary goal is just to kind of like decompress and do a bit of reset and planning so I can really focus on health. You know, because like the physical and the mental stuff is just really just all together, all in there. And I'm going to tell you one thing, like being in the South was not helpful for the physical at all. Like, girl, the food. Not even that, just like eating out the entire time. You know, being away from home, away from routine. I have definitely gained weight and I feel puffy AF. Thinking back to it, like I don't believe that I saw a vegetable the entire time that was not slathered in a cheese sauce or a mayonnaise. Which is why I'm glad I at least remembered to pack some of these guys. If you don't know what these are, Gruns is a multivitamin, greens gummy, and probiotic all wrapped up into a convenient little pack at a fraction of the price. Generic vitamins only contain around 7 to 9 vitamins. These have over 20 different vitamins and minerals and over 60 whole food ingredients. And that's why they come 8 to a pack because you can't just like fit that in one gummy. And who's complaining, because these taste like fruit snacks and they're delicious. Gruns are also methylated, which is just a fancy word that means that the critical nutrients contained are absorbable by everybody. Which I didn't know this, but apparently the unmethylated version of vitamins aren't helpful to like 30 to 40% of the population due to a gene mutation. The label is comprised of all pronounceable ingredients. There's no artificial coloring. They're vegan, nut-free, dairy-free, gluten-free, and they're just so easy to toss in your bag if you're on the go. If you're interested in grabbing some Gruns for yourself, you can get up to 45% off by clicking that link in my description. Huge thank you to Gruns for sponsoring this video and supporting my health and wellness. Now let's figure out my life. Alright, I have already emptied the entire contents of my suitcase into the washing machine. So now our next order of business is to restock the fridge with some fruits and veggies, because Steven has been sustaining himself the last week on frozen Marie Callender lasagnas and nothing else. Just warming up bricks of lasagna whenever he's felt hungry, like Garfield or something. Which honestly I'm not mad at, because his idea of cooking a meal for himself in the past has been like grabbing a pound of hamburger and just frying it up with some salt and pepper and calling it a day. And I'm like, Steven, that's not a meal, that is an ingredient. At least he's getting like some sauce and noodles. I don't know, but I'm gonna get back to cooking, so I need some ingredients. Okay, just got back to the house, started putting away groceries, and this is the first time that I opened the fridge since being gone. And some stuff was like a little bit over the hill. But the great thing about having chickens is stuff like this that is a little bit bordering on slimy. I wouldn't prefer to eat, but the chickens would love. So let's go give the chickums a snack and do a couple of chicken chores. Oh, chickens! Chickens! What, ma'am? I wholeheartedly forgot that I was doing laundry the other day, so I have to restart my load. With like a little bit of soap in there, wash it again so it's not mildewy, and hopefully not forget it again. Not the most environmentally friendly option, I know, but sometimes it happens. At one time I had a duster in here that would have been more appropriate than this one that's for like ceiling fans. Where it went, I do not know, but I think I am finally ready to re-enter the garage gym. Except for I've been out of it so long that it's been just like a full-on spider haven. So we need to do a bit of cleaning first. It's very surprising to me that this place looks relatively clean because it's a garage. There are cracks everywhere and typically it's a dust wagon. But I think we could get away with like a once over with a mop and slapping everything with that big duster that I found to make sure that there are no black widows in any crevasses and call it macaroni basically. It's all Gucci as the kids would say in the early 2010s. I've not stepped foot in this beach for, I don't know, a couple months now. I was basically using just walking as my primary source of exercise, which admittedly, I miss this place. I could have done other exercises that didn't focus on my injury, which I kind of complained about in another video, but I had an elbow thing going on for a while. I was not sure what was going on, but the pain was getting increasingly worse and worse, even with resting it. Like at a point, it got so bad that I had trouble like lifting like a small-ish paperback book with just this one hand. Like I had to get my other hand to get this small item. It was just so weird, and I should have went to a doctor, but I did not do that because I thought that they would just tell me to do what I was already doing, which was resting it, icing it, you know, that whole thing. About compression sleeves to no avail. Like it was just really freaking painful. But one day, a couple weeks ago, I have Stevie do this thing where he pops my wrists for me. It's great. I'm a crack addict. Like I have to pop every single joint that will pop multiple times. Probably not good at all for my body, honestly, because I'm over here like doing chiropractor shit. But I have him pull on my hand and oh, it just did it there. But pull on my hand and it pops the wrist. I don't know if it was just this particular angle, but I had him do it one night and I like threw out my arm like this and he pulled it. And not only did my wrist pop, but this grotesque sound came from my elbow, along with the sensation of pain. And I was like, oh, I have done it now. I've gone ahead and re-ripped whatever tendon, ligament situation in my elbow. I'm effed in the A for life. But after the initial pain, I noticed that it did not feel too bad. And then so I went to bed. In the morning, it felt better, which shooketh me to my core because it was only getting progressively worse. But it's been a couple of weeks since then and it feels like pretty much back to normal. And upon Googling it, I think maybe my elbow was somehow dislocated. I'm not sure because again, did not go to a doctor, but all I know is he popped it and now we're all good. And TLDR, I'm ready to get back in the gym. My right arm used to be my dominant one and it feels so much weaker now. Like I was just testing out a couple of things just to like make sure everything felt kosher. Kind of nuts how much this one was just way weaker. Feels good and everything, it's just been not used. And I've been babying it, so I've been doing everything with this arm. And I'm used to this arm being the weenie arm, so times have changed. Anyway, regardless, I'm gonna write down some full body workouts. I'm not gonna get started today because I also wanna clean out the yoga room, another room that I haven't set foot in a while that is probably Spider Haven. We've been getting like those huge wolf spiders in the house because the weather is starting to get colder. And I just like have this pile of squishmallows in my yoga room that I just imagine is a spider nest right now. Okay, the yoga room is ready to go. It feels so much cleaner in here, even though it doesn't look too different. But there were all kinds of like little bits on the yoga mat because Chetty uses it as a scratching pad and like kind of tears it up. There's like was little rubber nodules all over it, so it kind of felt like gritty. My reset is going like a little bit slower than I had planned, mainly because like as the day goes on, like maybe like around 3 o'clock, I just hit a wall emotionally and just want to crawl in a hole and die. Like I'm trying to push past like the disappointment of the airplane thing, honestly, but I don't really know. Like right now, it's just about like getting over the hurdle of like feeling a bit disheartened by, you know, kind of failing at something that I tried. And I kind of knew that trip was going to be one of those things where it was either I was going to feel like really great about myself in the end, like, oh shit, I did it. I did something I was really afraid to do, or would mess me up. I was not expecting the result to be like 50-50 with like a successful trip too, but like not from. So it's been kind of weird because my days have been kind of half and half too, where the mornings I'm like really, you know, motivated, and as the day goes on at like 3 o'clock, I have just like, there's no wind in my sails. Just embarrassed kind of and sad. And lately my activities in the evening have been very much like escapism, as far as I puzzle and I listen to audiobooks. Side note, I just recently discovered the public library. Why did I not know about this before? Like they have apps that you could download and just get all of the audiobooks that you want. Like why are people even using, you know, Audible? Why do people buy audiobooks when you could just like rent them from your local library? I mean, like sometimes things have holds, and I don't know how every public library is, but mine is pretty awesome. But I've been listening to audiobooks and redoing like this stamp puzzle over and over again. So nothing like super productive or negative. So it's kind of just like a neutral thing that I do in the evenings to not spiral. And that's like the main thing, like not spiraling. I don't know, but I've been talking a big game recently, especially about like bad things happening and then like figuring out why later, like in hindsight. And I think this is just going to be another one of those things because one thing I could tell you already, my sister also has issues with panic and anxiety, and she has ever since she was little. So she's kind of never really known the other side of that, whereas my issue started 2 years ago. Like really, I've always had like anxiety, but it wasn't like panic, don't feel safe anywhere anxiety. So now that I've experienced that, I have a lot more understanding and patience for what she's going through. And I feel like I can actually help her rather than just like not knowing it all, you know? So that's good. I've definitely come a long way, like where I was after the incident happened. I'm just not back to where I was. But right now I just need to focus on the things that I can control rather than the things that I can't, because that's just not helpful. And the things that I can control are all just actions that are relatively easy to do in one way or another that involve taking care of myself. And I notice when like stuff like this happens, when I end up doing something that I'm ultimately disappointed in this case, getting off the plane, I tend to, instead of take care of myself, self-sabotage, which is what we do not want to do, because that is a vicious cycle that we have not unpacked fully. Just interesting things. We're just going to continue chugging along, doing the best we can, and when we don't feel like doing anything at all, escaping into some cheesy romance audiobook. It's kind of funny because I never really liked that genre of audiobook. You know, like the spice stuff, and I still like, I'll be listening to it sometimes, like doing my puzzle, and I'll just like make a face like, because I say something cringy. I think I like it because it's light, you know, like there's always a happy ending. It's not, there's never anything like heavy or terrible things happen. Like there's a little bit of conflict or whatever, but it's always like happily ever after in the end. So it's not stress inducing. Anyways, we'll just keep chugging along. I am gonna go put my laundry in the dryer because I have already forgotten about it again. We will see if this load of laundry ever gets done, honestly. But we did like a little bit of a reset, and yeah, everything's ready to go. So can just kind of wake up and do the things now. But anyways, I just want to thank you so much for watching and listening to the ash can ramblings of a crazy person, and I will see you on the next one. Bye! And remember, if you want to check out Gruns, you could get up to 45% off by using my link in the description.